My name is Brandon Mitchell. I'm the writer and illustrator for Sheila Shares Her Gifts, and this is the True North Country Comics podcast.
Welcome to the True North Country Comics podcast, dedicated to promote Canadian comic book and graphic novel creators and supporters. I'm John Swinimer. On this episode, I chat with Brandon Mitchell about Sheila Shares Her Gift, attending various festivals, and educating the next generation of artists. Please like and subscribe to this website by hitting the subscribe button so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. Brandon Mitchell is Mi'kmaq and currently resides in the unceded Peace and Friendship Treaty Territory of Fredericton, New Brunswick. He carries a diploma in animation and design from the New Brunswick Community College of Miramichi and holds a master's degree in education from the University of New Brunswick. He's a founder of Birch Bark Comics and creator of the Sacred Circles comic series, which explored his Mi'kmaq heritage through a contemporary lens. Brandon has authored 6 stories for Indigenous Story Studio: Lost Innocence, Drawing Hope, River Run, Making It Right, Emily's Choice, and Tomorrow's Hope. He contributed to This Place, 150 Years Retold from Highwater Press. Brandon is also the creator and author of a new young readers series, Giju's Gift, also published by Highwater Press. He participated in the TO Comix Press anthology, The City We Choose. And with illustrator Jessica Jerome, his latest book is Sheila Shares Her Gift from Friesen Press. The story of Sheila Shares Her Gift goes like this. The Turtle Island friends are at soccer practice when they meet a new kid named Sheila. When Sheila the fox uses sign language to communicate, the team is confused at first and makes Sheila feel shy. Wendell the owl, Sheila's friend, shares that he is different too. Through Wendell and Sheila, the group learns that we are all different and all have special gifts. The team welcomes their new friend, and she doesn't feel nervous anymore. So, without further ado, here's my chat with Brandon Mitchell about Sheila Shares Her Gift, attending various festivals, and educating the next generation of artists. So, Brandon Mitchell, thank you very much for taking time to chat with me.
Oh, thanks for having me. I really appreciate being on your show.
Well, we haven't chatted in a while. I was looking at my notes, and man, we need to catch up, that's for sure. But before I get going with all the questions, I would like to know, what are you reading today?
Well, to continue my trek of reading books I should have been reading a long time ago, I finished all the Dune books since the last time we chatted, and I finally jumped into Lord of the Rings.
Oh, wow. That's a big jump.
Yeah.
No rest for the weary.
I'm ashamed for not reading it sooner.
Well, there you go. Well, that'll keep you busy for a while, that's for sure. But keeping busy is something that you've been doing. We talked offline about a couple of projects. So you finished work on a recent project, something about accessibility. I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, actually, I was approached by an organization where they wanted to write a series of picture books for Indigenous youth. They already had written the stories. They approached me to create characters for these stories. And the first one I did for them was about managing your emotions. So, they came up with these themes, and they're trying to help kids navigate their emotions. So I did about 4 stories with them that they approached me for illustrating. And then they asked me if I was available to write and illustrate new characters for a story about accessibility and inclusion. And I was more than happy to take on the challenge.
So you came to this project, it was, I wouldn't say pretty much prepared, but it was already well down the line. Was there any major changes that you had to make to fit the story or the characters?
So what I did with this one was the world was already created. Not all I had to really do was create new characters. They gave me the premise, and it just so happened it was a little bit of a serendipity, because the person that used to be in charge of, he's no longer with us, but he was a close friend of mine, Wendell Nicholas. He was all about disability awareness. So it was one of those things where when I was approached and the new people that were part of the organization, they asked me if to write this story, and then they gave me like the background. And I was like, I would love to be part of this. And it's almost like fate, because I knew Wendell from 20 years ago, and we were really close friends. He shared with me this project or this idea he had about doing a picture book like 15, 20 years ago. And he approached me, he's like, like if we ever get this off the ground, I would like you to be part of it. And I was like, you count me in. And then when I was approached and I found out that this was part of Wendell's outfit, I was like, you guys have no idea how crazy this is. But, I told him, I was like, I knew Wendell personally, and, I'm going to do my best to honor his memory and do what I can to do the story justice.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear about his passing, but it seems like fate has stepped in and made sure that you took control of this and did it right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was just like I said, it was one of those weird things. Like the coincidences were just too much to ignore.
Yeah, that is something else. I tell you, it doesn't happen too often. And these books are available now. They can be taken out of libraries or bookstores.
So the book was just launched 3 weeks ago. You can order it on Amazon, and I think it's at Chapters, and you can also order it on Apple Books and Google Play. So the book is called Sheila Shares Her Gift.
You've been keeping busy. I know that you've got a lot on the go, but you mentioned also that you worked on a TO Comix Press anthology project. I wonder if you could talk a little bit about that one too.
Yeah, so that one was one of those things where I was approached by one of the editors from TO Comix. They wanted to know if I wanted to be part of an anthology. And without knowing the full specs of it or whatever, I was like, yep, I sure do. And they were happy that I was on board. They pitched me the project, which it was all about the place you call home, the city you call home. And when I dug a little bit deeper, I was just like, I'm not from Toronto. I live in the Maritimes now. And like, no, like we want to expand and we want to include more diverse authors and writers from across Canada. So I was like, okay, great, count me in. And it just so happened that I was, not that I was stuck on what I wanted to write, but I used to live in Ottawa. And, it was a great place to raise our family, but it was really far from home. And I pitched them the idea about the decisions or how we ended up moving to Fredericton. So my collaborator with this one was very, very extremely talented artist, Riel McGregor. And they're a Métis artists out in Winnipeg.
You've explained the creative process to me before, but maybe you could explain it again. Did you come up with the script and then said to the artist, away you go? Or did you both sit down and say, okay, let's map this out, figure out where things are going, and then we'll get to getting down to brass tacks?
It was really very streamlined. When I pitched the idea, I wrote the script, and the editor that had some artists in mind. And when Riel's name popped up, I was like, that's the one. I want to work with them. And then that was it. I didn't even really talk to them. It was just more of like, here's the script. And I gave them some reference photos. And then that was it. And once I saw the roughs come back, I was like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I envisioned. And then that was it.
What is your preference when it comes to collaboration? Or would you rather work on your own on a project in a singular fashion?
I really love collaborating. I like it when you find another artist and it just clicks. I've been really lucky to click with my editors and to click with the artists that they recommend or that I know that are available. And I think one of it's too is like, I don't like coloring. And it's one of those things where if I can avoid it at all costs, I'm going to do it. But that's why I really enjoy collaborating with other artists just to see what they can do. And when I see how they interpret my words, it's just really fulfilling to me.
That's cool. I remember last time you were off gallivanting around and educating the next generation of creators at various educational functions and that sort of thing. Are you still doing that type of thing where you're doing lectures and education stuff?
Yes, I am. So yeah, I actually just renewed with Connected North. I just finished, I think on Wednesday, it'll be my 26th workshop that I've done this year. This school term. I just finished one today and I really enjoy it. Like, it's just so fulfilling just to, share and try and show kids or youth how accessible drawing and creating really is.
That is cool. That is cool. Now, they usually say that kids say the darndest things. I was wondering if you might be able to pull out a few nuggets, interactions with these students, these young creators, how they might have amazed you or said something to you that you were sort of taken aback. Anything like that happened to you?
I guess in the beginning, when I show them what I can do, they're like, oh, I can't do that, or that's too hard. Or like, you know what I mean? Like the confidence isn't there. And I just tell them, I said, listen, like, I'm going to show you what you guys can do and showing them the process. And then sometimes what I'll do is we'll do like step by step and they don't know what I'm drawing yet. It'll be something fun like Mickey Mouse, or, more recently, a lot of them gravitate towards like SpongeBob still. So I'll do like Patrick Star or whatever, but I'll go step by step. And they get really excited when they start, like, they try to guess once we get into the drawings. And then when they show me what they've done, they're just like, they're amazed by themselves. And I'm just happy to see them try and have fun.
That's cool. It's like they say, if you teach a man to fish, he'll keep fishing. So it seems like that could apply to comic book creators too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't know what's possible until you try.
That's it. You mentioned, I think, that you had just come back from a convention, and where you could talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I just came back from actually 2 conventions. So we got back from vacation, and I hit the road right away to go to my hometown of Carleton, New Brunswick. They invited me to do a drawing workshop and be one of the guests for their first mini-con. It was held at the Carleton Public Library, and I gotta say, it was great to see people from town, from home, and then there was people that are like, young people that I've never met before, and they were excited to know that I'm from the area. And it was just great to, once again, do my drawing workshops in person and see the kids get excited about drawing and creating. And after that, the weekend, like, I just got back from East Coast Comic Con in Moncton. This was their 10th anniversary, and I was one of the invited guests again to showcase and show off my work. It was a blast because we met some really great, it's one of those things now where when you're part of that circuit, you see the same vendors and they know you by name, or you know them by name now, and we swap stories about, did you go to this show? Did you go to that show? You talk to other artists that are in the same category as well, and they're talking about their projects. It's just a great networking opportunity. And once again, it's just great to meet new people also.
Absolutely. Those are always great events where you get to catch up with folks, as you say, and swap stories and see what's happening. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. No, I have a blast doing it.
You're not done yet, though. I'm sure you've got other stuff on the go. Anything that you can talk about that's coming down the road?
Well, not done being a road warrior yet. Hitting the road tomorrow. So I'm going to Ottawa for the summer solstice powwow. It's kind of a twofold. Like, my wife is part of the fashion show there, and I'm part of the night market over there as well. So I'm going to be there showing off my books. She's going to be showing off her design skills.
And what about books? Any new books on the go that you can talk about too?
Well, I just finished reviewing the specs for the second volume of The Adventures of the Blue Letter Mooch, The Search for Glooskap. So I'm really eager for that to come out. That one's going to actually be released next May, and the pre-orders are up now for that one. I'm really excited for that book. It's been a journey. I'm looking forward to everyone seeing where the adventure takes us next. On top of that, I'm also just finished drafting the third volume of the series.
Wow. So it sounds like you got a lot on the go. And with all that you do have on the go, where do you recommend that people go online to find out about your work going on today and tomorrow?
So the best place to see what I'm up to is on Instagram. You can check me out at writer Brandon Mitchell. That's where you post where I am and what I'm up to. And yeah, check out Highwater Press to pre-order The Search for Glooskap. Or you can check out, like, if you Google me on Amazon, all my books that are available will show up on there as well.
Very good. Well, Brandon, those are all the questions I have for you, but I'm wondering, is there something I didn't ask that you'd like to get across in this interview?
Like I said, I'm really excited about the things that are in the pipeline, the things that are out now in the wild. And I'm really enjoying going on the road this summer and meeting old and new audiences.
Thanks to Brandon for the chat. You can discover more about Brandon on Instagram at instagram.com/writer Brandon Mitchell. And thank you for tuning in to the True North Country Comics podcast. I invite you to visit the True North Country Comics website to listen to even more conversations and discover more about creators' insight on making comic books and graphic novels. I also encourage you to subscribe via the website so you'll be notified about new podcast interviews and article posts. This podcast is available wherever podcasts are enjoyed. Please like, follow, and subscribe. You can follow along at True North Country Comics on most social media sites, and you're welcome to send any and all feedback to John at TrueNorthCountryComics.com. Thanks for tuning in, and come back soon for another episode. Bye for now. True North Country Comics Podcast is copyright True North Country Comics, copyright 2025.